Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are crime dramas. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about The Cleaning Lady Season 4, Episode 7. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, felt so bad about that one guard at the beginning where it's just like, poor guy. Like, the fact is, I was kind of halfway expecting every time he was locking, using his key card, I was like, is this where they're going to get him? Is this where they're going to get him? It's not till he was driving away. It makes sense. Get you further away from the compound and then get you and then steal your car. And I was like, poor guy. Especially because they brought up the whole like, oh yeah, your wife Cynthia and stuff like that, which is once again funny. My mom's name is Cynthia, so I don't know. So yeah, I just kind of felt bad for that guy. But I was like, I was about to go down. I wasn't sure how this was going to play out. I wasn't expecting him to do a full-on assault on the compound. I mean, it wasn't the full-on assault because it was kind of almost like a strike team. Obviously, Tony is trying to get. It's like I wasn't expecting Ramona to still be knocked out. I didn't know she had her like out the entire time. And it's like, oh no, I gotta inject you with something to wake you up. So like, tied her hands with duct tape, and then kept it pushing. Got the kids out. Told Jorge to take them to school before he goes to work, and she'll pick Luca up afterwards. I was like, that's interesting. And so she has a one-on-one with Ramona, which Ramona's like, wait, it's morning. You got to let me out. But Tony's like, no, you're a danger to this family. Like, this family is in so much danger now because of you, which Ramona's blaming Tony. It's like, to be fair, like, Tony set stuff in motion. Tony played a part in us getting to where we are now, but that's only because Ramona was doing all the stuff. It's like, because I'm sure Ramona's looking at it like, if you had never got involved with my family, we wouldn't be where we are. It's like, but this all started with you, with the whole Ottoman of it all. Like, you set so much of this in motion. And it is the thing of she's not taking accountability for her part to play in like blowing up her own family. I mean, once again, are we ignoring the fact is you, and it seems like you kind of skate past it because your brother's kind of slightly forgiven you, but he also doesn't fully trust you. Like, oh, hey, I'm gonna pin all my crimes last season on you and you were gonna go to jail. Like, oh, but it was gonna make you stronger. It was gonna be a learning experience, bro. So you take that, and Ramona believes herself to be in the right because everything she's like, I'm doing this for the sake of my family, because if I didn't do what the Hellers wanted, then I would be dead and my brother would be dead, and even trying to tell Tony, it's like, yo, like, this won't, because Tony's like, well, they're only after you, right? It's like, well, no, it's not going to just stop with me. They'll kill Jorge, then they'll kill you, Luca, Viola, like, Violetta. Like, none of us are safe in this regard. So the unlikely of unlikely allies will have to join forces in this situation. Hey, I was not expecting Ramona not to like catch a bullet this episode. Fact is, she handled it. She was the one on guns. She took out some of the people who infiltrated. I was not expecting the person to end up getting shot would be Tony, but it's like, it wasn't until that parallel gets set up, I was like, oh, right. Tony helped Ramona from a gunshot wound, because I completely forgot. I let that slip my mind until the end of the episode when like Ramona has to help out Tony. I was like, oh, funny how the shoe's on the other foot, especially because Tony had literally brought up earlier in the episode, like, yo, I wish I'd never helped you with that bullet situation. It's like, so yeah, because they ended up managing to get to the panic room. That was the perfect opportunity. It was like, oh, like Ramona's going to get shot, but she didn't get shot. Like I said, she's already been shot before, so we're not going to do that again. We're just going to make it so that Tony's the one that catch the bullet. But yeah, the massive disagreement between both of them, because it's like, Tony feels like she's doing what's best for the family. I want you specifically away from my son, but also it's like, you're here betraying Jorge again. She's like, you say that everything is for your family, but at the end of the day, everything you do is for the cartel power. It's not for family. This isn't what family does. Like, everything Tony has ever done has been for family. But like, Ramona tries to like throw it in her face, being like, yeah, but you wanted to be a part of the cartel. You kind of came running to Jorge about this and the marriage. Is like, well, to be fair, she went to Jorge screaming about the marriage because she was literally about to get taken off somewhere and popped. And even when she asked Jorge, would you have let them kill me? And Jorge doesn't give her an answer because his silence in that moment is deafening. And it's like, oh, your silence is an answer of you would have let that go. But it's like, oh, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to cross that bridge because it's now a moot point. But it's like, once again, the marriage thing was more like a final Hail Mary desperation move. So it's not like she ran to the marriage. It was yes, in the sense of self-preservation, because it benefited both Jorge and her. I mean, granted, her disappearing would have helped Jorge too, but still. But I've always talked about that where it feels like Tony does tiptoe in her Walter White bag where she does seem to like the power to some extent, but it's like I can see like I feel like I've seen moments where it feels like not that Tony revels in it, but it is that thing of like she kind of has her Good Girls moment, like just like it's Beth, yeah, Beth from Good Girls, who really started leaning into the whole like, oh, she liked the power of it. Walter White loving the power. Wendy Bird loving the power. Just some prime examples of people who are just kind of like, I started this for different reasons, but now that I'm here where I am, I'm like, I'm actually good at this. And I mean, to be fair, it's like she's always still played the doctor role, but she's been in dangerous situations and found herself out of it. Like I said, I don't think she revels in it the way Ramona thinks she does, but I think there is a little bit of Tony being like, I kind of do like it, but I still believe it's like 90% her family. I do believe like there's at least that 10% where she kind of does enjoy this life. She does find herself in this situation over and over again. I mean, she's always put in a situation where that's all she can turn to. So, which Ramona was kind of like, she's accustomed to this life and she believes, I don't know, it's just obviously differences of opinion and differences of perspectives about each other and the other person. Like, Ramona would never like acknowledge any of her faults. I think Tony would acknowledge her faults, but I don't think Tony would ever acknowledge like liking any of this, even just a little bit, because like I said, it's always family motivated. It's just, I'm backed into a corner, I need this. But it's like too often you find yourself backed into this particular corner and you kind of jump forward and you're not putting up too much of a fight, but it's kind of like, it is what it is type of thing. You take what you can get if it means survival in the long run. But either way, I was surprised to find out. I thought like initially like the Heller's plan was maybe like take Ramona or Tony hostage. I thought like when they got into the safe room, they were doing stuff. I was like, what are they doing? And I thought like, because at the same time, Hunter's dad, Sam, is meeting with Jorge trying to make him a deal. So it's like, I'm going to give you, we can go into business together when it comes to the mining rights, and we split it 50-50. And it's like, yeah. And then and the payment for that will be like, you will have some stakes in some like 5-star hotels I own or something, or casinos or hotels that I own. But it's like, none of that will equal the 50% I'm basically going to be giving you based on what these mines are worth. He's like, no, it won't, but at least you'll be part of that circle. He's like, the people like in my circle who would never do business with you because it's like, you're too... What was the word? Basically, he's like, you're stuck in this medium, not accepted by like your legal colleagues and people on the straight. You're too straight to be with like kind of the corrupt side of legitimacy, but you're also not bad enough for the cartel side of things. So you're in this dead zone, middle zone, and he's like, yeah, I could take you further with that than if you were to on your own. But Jorge's like, no, I'm gonna choose family over working with you because he started this for family, wants to finish this with and for family. So because of that, Sam gave the go ahead, and the plan was always to steal the rights. This was supposed to be that last Hail Mary that if they could get Jorge to sign off on it, I guess they were just going to bounce. I guess, I don't know. Well, because I'm sure they still would have probably stolen. I mean, he's like, blow it now. So it's like, what would you have done? Attack the place and then left? Because the rights to the mine is what they were after, but they were probably hoping to like, I mean, like, how were you going to, that's what I'm about to say. Like, Ramona would have already known it was you. So I think the plan would have always been that, but I don't know how Sam saw this playing out anyway, because you already attacked his home and killed some of his security. So, but yeah, like I said, during that whole like, they are trying to contact, they get out of the safe room after they took what they took, and sadly Tony ends up catching a bullet, and now it's like, well, where are we going to take her? It's like, well, we got to take her somewhere. That safe zone ended up being the house. Sadly, the house is filled with people because Tony didn't expect anyone to be there, considering Fee and the kids moved in with JD. And now it's like, well, everyone's here, which will circle to the everyone being there thing. And it's like, well, what are we going to do? We can't go to the hospital because they have to report gunshot wounds. oh, bring Dr. DuPont here, which he comes here, helps out. Once again, Ramona playing second hand to all this, saying like, oh, I don't want to see my brother have to lose. I don't want to have to see another one of my brother's wives die or something like that again. And so it's like, okay, she's helping out, kind of also paying Tony back in some regard of like, yeah, you were a lot more hands on with my getting shot situation. I'm just playing second fiddle to DuPont helping you out, which DuPont walked away from this situation because obviously it's pretty obvious he likes Tony. And it's like, if it wasn't for the Jorge of it all, it probably would be a DuPont and Tony thing. Because he was kind of like, oh, you're married when he first found out. But he's also like, yeah, your husband's kind of like your husband brandishing a gun at the hospital. Now you've been shot. You don't want me to say anything. Hey, I'll do it. I'll help you out. But it's like, Tony, like, my sister married a bad guy, and I tried to warn her, but she didn't listen and stayed with him. He's like, I haven't talked and seen my sister in 10 years. She got swallowed by her husband's world. Don't get swallowed by yours. And it's such a complicated thing because also, once again, she's been a part of this life this is the fourth season of her being a part of this world. So once again, she hasn't been as neck deep in it. I mean, I think she's been just as maybe not as neck deep, but pretty close to being as neck deep as this in the past. You know, I think arguments can be made about whether I think, considering she is straight up married to Jorge now, it makes her a lot more neck deep in this than previous situation. Even like as close as she's been like to Armand's like situation, I still feel like this makes her even deeper in the weeds about the whole situation. I was halfway expecting when DuPont left that he was going to have some remark to Jorge, but he was just, because Jorge was like, yo, if there's anything you need, just ask me for it. He's like, I will. And he was looking back at Tony, and I feel like his request in the future is going to be, you should leave Tony. Like, Tony is not safe in your world. You need to leave her or you will get her killed. I get the feeling like that future conversation is going to happen. Like I said, I expected him to chastise Jorge in that moment, but he didn't. But I think that probably will be a future conversation of him being like, yo, Tony isn't meant for your world. You need to let her go. And that's probably going to be a thing of Jorge being like, oh, you're in love with my wife. It's like, he does care for Tony. It's like, there's not like a love situation. Obviously, he still hasn't gotten rid of Vanessa in his heart, probably never will, but it's just, I don't know. Something that took me by surprise, I wasn't expecting, was Tony bringing that up to Fee at the end of the episode, being like, yeah, I think Ramona might have had something to do with Vanessa's death. I would have never, because the way Ramona phrased that, it would have never clicked in my head of, oh, there's something suspicious about like that particular phrasing. But it's like that Tony latched onto that, which I thought was interesting. And it's like, well, it's like, I thought Vanessa died in an accident. It's like, yeah, but there might be more to it now. It's like, why does she do that? Like, is it because Vanessa would have gotten in the way? Like, I mean, Vanessa always wanted Jorge out of like the cartel, and was it a situation of Ramona not wanting that? Because she, once again, has such a twisted relationship with her family, like the Armand of it all, and now the Jorge of it all. But it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, like it's gonna benefit me by like throwing you in prison and doing this and that. It's for the sake of my family, but it's also the thing of, I don't want anyone else to have my family. Like, she's so possessive and will do what she needs to benefit herself, but it's like, you can't belong to anyone but me. She has a very twisted notion on family, and it's just like her selfishness does like outshine her love for her family, because she does love her family, but like the length she's willing to go to is wild. Because I'm curious if Vanessa was going to turn on Ramona just to save Jorge and Violeta from Ramona. Like, was she gonna, because like that was always the thing, but like Jorge would just keep not doing it. Like he never like kept his promise of backing away from the cartel. Not unless Vanessa's plan was, I'm gonna take Violeta, and Ramona was like, you're not gonna take away family, and then did that. And it was just kind of like, you're not gonna do this to my brother, you're not gonna do this to me by taking away my adorable niece. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see. Because even Fee's like, you're going to let this go, right? You're injured. You should be resting. Just let this go. Will you let it go? And she's like, I don't know. Hey, which to me, Tony's I don't know means, no, I am not going to let this go. Because she's definitely not going to. So we'll see where that goes. Despite everything with Ramona, though, Jorge and her have to double down. It's like, we have to be a united front, even though we have beef right now. Because it's like, family is kind of like an off limits thing. You don't go to that lengths, but for Jorge, it's like, well, the Hellers are playing by their own rules, so we have to, like an attack on a cartel. It makes us look weak if we don't knock back, so we have to go to war. The thing is, we have a cartel versus a business family, a family that has deep roots and connections, and so they have like law enforcement. They have higher like people in powerful positions to help them. So that's different from just going to war with another like cartel or gang. It's like you're going up against a gang that is owed money and has deep pockets and connection. It's a different kind of beast versus most people you'd cross paths with in the criminal world. So that dust up is going to be interesting. But like I said, they have to work together. I think it's interesting too. Like Greta was cleaning up at the end, and she was kind of looking towards Ramona and giving her the stink eye. I think she obviously likes Tony way more than she likes Ramona, because I think she sees Ramona as kind of a bad. I don't know whether Greta knows like Ramona's the reason why things popped off at the place. Like she doesn't like, she definitely likes Tony and cares for Tony and Luca. It's like, yeah, you're the new pieces to the family, but maybe she just never liked Ramona. Like I said, it looked like she gave it her stink eye. So I'm like, I don't know. So other than that, on the flip side of this episode, we had obviously the Ted and Chris of it all getting high on mushrooms, chocolate mushrooms. Then Jazz finding out like she won a scholarship thing because of this essay she wrote. Fiona dealing with the fact is that the house that they rented is now up for sale, and now it kind of makes it a little more permanent, where it's just like, oh, even though it's like, yeah, I decided to move in with JD, it's still the thing of, oh, but this home that meant so much to us, we lived here for so many years, I raised my children here, now for it to be gone makes it a lot more of a permanent thing, and not wanting to let stuff go. So now both the kids, both Chris and Jazz hear about this, and now it's kind of like, hey, the family's got a lot of truth coming forward. Except Chris never mentioned what he was up to. It's like, yeah, I'm making these kind of dangerous dancing videos that have kind of gone pretty viral. I even love Ted's like, oh my god, we're making money now. I was like, oh dude, you poor bastard. You don't know, like, kind of have to, well, for one, consistently do this and that to make money. Obviously, getting sponsors that helps a lot, but that ad revenue ain't what you think it is, homie. You know. So I think it's funny. It's just like, oh my god, I've got like millions of views. Like that must mean I'm raking in the dough. It's like not the case, homie. It's like, oh man, there are plenty of YouTubers that would tell you that's not the case. That's funny. I mean, once again, they're just like TikTok versus like, because I think the money in TikTok's even lower than the ad revenue stuff for YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. But once again, I'm not the analytical dude. I'm not making like money like that anyway. So who am I to have that conversation, you know? But it's just funny and just to think about that. But that's the preconceived notion of anyone when you're like, oh my god, you see someone millions of views being a successful influencer online. You're like, oh my god, they must be raking in dough. It's like, no, unless you like really get a whole bunch of consistent videos like that and the sponsorships and stuff, that really brings it up. But once again, having an inside baseball type of conversation, but it's like, I think that is going to be kind of a rude awakening, especially once again, it's like also the content thing of, oh, we got to keep this rolling, we got to make more videos, more content. It's like, yeah, you kind of have to like, you know, do more and more because you find that thing that's working and you expand upon it. But then like, well, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you pigeonhole yourself into that box of, well, this is what people know you for, you step out of that, you won't have much success. It's a whole layer thing, but I'm curious to see where that kind of goes. Fee and Jazz are having that hard conversation. I mean, it ended up being a very lighthearted conversation, but it's the whole conversation about what Jazz's paper called Scraps was about. She's like, Jazz is like, I came to realize I do a lot of like what you do, Mom. I put so many people first and only leave scraps for myself, which Chris is like, yeah, like going forward, no more scraps for anybody. We all feast. It's like, yeah, because like Fee because it's like, oh, even moving in with JD, it's like, oh, did you move into with JD because you wanted to, or are you mainly doing that for Jazz's sake? And it's like, you know, Fee wants to kind of going forward try and do stuff for herself. And so she goes to Benny. It's like, I want to take what I was doing already and expand it. We're going to get a whole bunch of fake IDs for a lot of undocumented people. We'll get 10-15% of like cut of what they're doing. But it's like, yeah, I'm helping out a lot of people who are in the same boat as me, which yeah, building our own little illegal enterprise, which is once again interesting considering like, well, you're just basically taking the operation that you were a part of and you're making it your own. because you do have the clientele, because there's so many people that are undocumented, and being an undocumented person too, I think, can make people a lot more trusting and willing to reach out to you for this business opportunity, because like Home Dude took a pretty penny from you, so it's also like, yeah, I'm only taking 10-15% because she wants to get a whole bunch of money so that she can buy her home and not have to worry about the people who own it selling it. So it's like, yeah, I want to hold on to this. That also leads to issues between her and JD. I mean, that's one of multiple things. It's just always been like the Tony conversation has continued to be an issue, because JD's made it perfectly clear that he doesn't want. I mean, it's like, oh, what happened to Fee getting sent back to the Philippines? Manila in particular, it's like, oh, what happened there? It's like because of Tony, and like Chris had beef with her because of that, and obviously JD as well. Like, it's just like Tony always kind of causes some havoc, but he kind of let that slide, right? Once again, that's the one. Fee's the woman I love, and that's family. So, I mean, that was the whole point she was bringing up to JD, or like I think it was like, yeah, earlier this season too, about like, right, everyone here has to be part of the family. That includes Luca, that includes Tony. But JD feels like, yo, I'm always second fiddle. It's like she's like, I got enough love for everyone, and it's like, no, like you always show more love to Tony, and I will always come second. It's like, I will always love you, but I'm gonna move back in. We go back to the split custody thing. Jazz will stay with me, sometimes stay with you. But yeah, up until she goes off to college, and you're just like, oh, that sucks. But I mean, once again, I understand where JD's coming from, where it's like, yo, like that. Like the head of a cartel is here. Tony shows up with a gunshot wound. Maybe you should distance yourself. But Fee's like, what? No. It's like, once again, it's like even Fee recognizes like how messed up it is. But you also have to acknowledge Fee's become a lot more comfortable with a lot of the more criminal activity that's happened in her life. Which I also think it's funny because the actress who plays Fiona was in The Gentleman, and she led like her own little criminal group, and that. So once again, I think that's funny. But either way, JD's also completely unaware of like, it's not the same. It's more, I don't know. I was about to say that would be considered, would that be a white collar crime? I think it'd be a white collar. I don't know. Because it's under the basis of fraud. Like what Fiona was doing, like her undocumented like fake IDs and stuff. Like I think that would consider as, I don't know if that counted as like white collar crime or not. So it's not as bad as like a cartel thing. Once again, illegal is illegal. So yeah, but yeah, Faye also doesn't like, even like, obviously I guess Tony's got enough to worry about, so you're not going to stack that on top of her, because you also don't want to make Tony, with everything she's got going on, you don't want to make her feel guilty about everything that's going on. So it's like, I'm just going to keep that to myself for now, but I'm sure it eventually is going to pop up again. So, but yeah, Tony's not moving back with Jorge for right now. It's like, well, we'll tell you the ADA, like I had a cousin die until like in the Philippines, there's like a mourning period, so like I got 9 days, and it's like even them joking like, oh, do you think he'll go flying to the Philippines just to check? It's like, he is hardcore enough to potentially have that checked, but yeah, that buys him some time. But the also problem is like, well, that gives Ramona more time to sit around next to Jorge whispering in his ear and not having Tony there directly to balance it out. So we'll see how it all shakes up and plays out. I'm excited to see what the next episode has in store for us. We're basically, I was about to say I thought we were at like the 2/3 mark, but we're almost there. Next episode will make like the 2/3 marks of the season, so I'm very interested to see how this plays out, how this war against the Hellers goes and plays out, and where everyone's story ends up going as this drags on. But yeah, really that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.